stuff that we've learned in the last 2 years.
This is great.
We're getting so technologically advanced here.
All
Kind
right,
of
we're live, so
Okay,
be
great.
careful who you talk about. Okay, welcome to our webinar from the Council of Carpentries. We'll start in a couple of minutes. Thanks for joining us. All right, good afternoon. Welcome to our NISCA webinar, offered presented by the Council of Carpenters. We're going to start in a minute. Here's some webinar instructions, which you guys have known since we've been doing webinars a lot. We're recording this webinar. We're going to get a follow-up email with the webinar slides, the recording, and your handouts if there are any. And we also have the closed captioning on if you need that. While you're looking for something to do, type in the chat where you're from. Kind of curious about where everybody's from on the webinar. We offered it statewide. So this webinar is presented by Melissa Clark, who is the marketing manager for the North Atlantic States Carpenters Labor Management Program. If you came to our conference last fall, you might have visited their table at the Turning Stone. We had a lot of exhibitors at the Turning Stone, including quite a few from the trades, which seems to be a trend these days. So I'm going to give her the floor right now. And so welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Bob, and thank you everyone for joining today. I actually do recognize some of your names. I'm sure some of us have connected at one point or another, either at the conference or we do a lot of school visits as well. So again, my name is Melissa Clark. I'm the marketing manager for the North Atlantic States Carpenters Labor Management Program. So I'm actually based in Albany, but I work with all of the carpenter locals throughout New York State and New England. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a PowerPoint presentation. I have a few videos to show, and then I'm happy to take any questions via chat, or if you'd like to raise your hand at the end, we can go through some questions if you have those. So again, I work with the North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters and the North Atlantic States Carpenters Training Fund. So the Regional Council of Carpenters, we actually we train people for a career in carpentry, and the fund, as part of the fund, people go through our training department, go through that program. I'm going to talk a little bit about our apprenticeship program, a program we have for women as well. It's a pre-apprenticeship program, and just some other information regarding our organization and some of the benefits of being in the union. So about the union. So we're actually, the North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters is a part of the UBC, or the United Brotherhood of Carpenters. So the organization is an international organization, and we have over 500,000 union carpenters in our organization. And as part of the North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, we have over 28,000 union carpenters in our council. And there's actually several councils throughout North America. So you'll see here, there's a lot of different areas. Again, we cover Canada and the United States. We actually have a training center in Puerto Rico as well. And we are here in the dark yellow. So we represent all of New York except the 5 boroughs, so Buffalo to Long Island, and then the New England states. So it's 7 states total. In New York, we have 5 locals, Long Island, Hudson Valley, Albany, Central New York, and Western New York. And we also have several training centers throughout those different areas as well. So when we talk about carpentry, a lot of people tend to think maybe residential work, and that is one part of it. As union carpenters, we do a lot of commercial projects, and there's many different crafts within carpentry. So again, people tend to think about maybe just using wood as a material as a carpenter, and we actually use a lot of different materials. There's a lot of different pathways people can take. So in the top picture there, the person's doing some metal framing. The bottom left, there's a floor layer. And then on the right side, you'll see somebody who is a pile driver, and they're doing underwater welding work. We actually have welding stations in our training centers, and some of our training centers even have diving tanks. So some of the things that people don't necessarily associate with carpenters, but there's a lot of different crafts and pathways that people can choose. So I'd like to show a video. It's about a 9 to 10 minute video about the different crafts, just to give you a better idea of the different pathways that people can take.
You like to work with your hands, and work with your brains too. You build with pride. You're looking to build a successful career as a skilled craftsman. So look to the Carpenters Union. There you'll find a craft that's the perfect fit for you. As a member of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, you'll join other men and women who are the most productive and skilled craftsmen in the construction industry. It's about getting the job right the first time. Working safe. Jobs coming in, on, or ahead of schedule. And on budget. Carpenter productivity helps our contractors stay competitive, which means we get more work. That means a better, more secure future for you and your family. To take full advantage of this opportunity, you need to know about what crafts our union has to offer. When we think of carpentry, what comes to mind? Swinging a hammer? Measuring? Cutting? Drilling? Sure, we do these jobs, but the UBC is comprised of other highly skilled crafts that are well suited to your talents and abilities. Residential carpenters build homes, apartments, and condominiums. Working in specialized crews, we build the foundation forms, frame up walls, erect the roof trusses. We do much of the flooring and finish work too. Besides working with wood, we have to be on top of the new methods and materials coming out all the time. UBC carpenters also work the big jobs: highway construction, bridges, and water projects. We build concrete forms for high-rises. Our crews place 40-ton panels for commercial buildings, sometimes 10 or 15 in a day. On some work sites, we install the roof systems spanning millions of square feet. We build with our brains too. Union carpenters read plans and know how to work closely with the other trades. Many times, we're the ones running the work as lead carpenters, foremen, and superintendents. You can already see that our trade is more than working with wood or swinging a hammer. So what else do we have to offer? If you want a challenging outdoor job, maybe you want to be a pile driver. But you'll find a lot of action inside too. Interior systems carpenters work in a tough, competitive market. Users and tenants want to occupy their office space ASAP. When it comes to interior systems, union carpenters have to be on top of their game. We're the best in the business because we do more than hang drywall. We do layout, cut and frame the metal studs. When the walls are up, we do the taping too. Our drywall mechanics work productively with no wasted effort. Interior systems carpenters also install doors and hardware. We do all the finished carpentry in today's modern buildings. As a union carpenter, you'll gain a thorough understanding of special tools and materials. Precision and attention to detail will be a part of your skill set. UBC floor layers are a good example of this level of skill. We're professionals who work to the highest standard. We install hardwood flooring, carpeting, vinyl sheet stock, or tile. We work with an eye for perfection, whether it's a large installation or intricate floor designs. We have to be meticulous because exacting contractors, users, designers, and architects demand flawless work. When we finish a job, we know it's done right with no callbacks. Commercial buildings often use aesthetically pleasing surfaces and architectural forms. Lathers build the reinforced substructure for these plaster and stucco finishes. We are master craftsmen who work mostly with metal mesh and tie wire. Lathers use a variety of hand and portable power tools. A lot of our work is on scaffolding. Some projects demand that we cover the sides of large, multi-story buildings. Our trade also requires working with curves and freeform shapes. Sometimes we provide the framework for ornate walls and ceilings. The results can be spectacular. And talking about impressive, high-end work, how would you like to be a carpenter making the millwork going into the finest commercial and residential buildings? That's the work of UBC mill cabinet craftsmen. We shape and craft all manner of specialty woodwork. A mill cab professional works with solid wood, laminates, and other materials. We use time-honored tools as well as computer-controlled machines to turn out top-quality products. Mill cab is a great choice if you like precise, detailed work. UBC millwrights are also well acquainted with precision.
Now this is C, 10-inch, 16 thousandths.
Our work involves tolerances within a thousandth of an inch. Millwrights work in North America's biggest industries. Our job is to install and align heavy machinery, like motors, conveyors, pumps, compressors, and giant turbines. When a plant has an outage or shutdown, we're in there to make the repairs efficiently and get operations up and running. Delays can cost the manufacturer millions of dollars in lost output. Communities need lights and power restored as soon as possible. Millwrights use mechanical and high-precision tools. We do layout, rigging, erecting, and fabrication too. We're experts with a torch and even make parts when we need to.
I-0.
Often our tools are pencil and paper. Union millwrights have to know their math to calculate alignments or determine how well a mechanical system is operating. How you gain your carpenter skills is through UBC training,
If you're not putting a ridge
the best in the industry. Your local training center is committed to help you reach your goals as a carpenter. Once you finish your 4-year apprenticeship and become a journeyman, your training doesn't stop there. Our union continually offers certifications and journeyman upgrades so you can advance in your chosen craft and stay on top of our changing industry.
So you put the map.
Some of you will go on to become lead carpenters and foremen. Your local training center has special courses designed to help you step up to these new responsibilities. The International Training Center in Las Vegas demonstrates the UBC's commitment to advancing its members' skills. Here, the UBC generates new programs, trains instructors for our 250 local training centers, and delivers the most comprehensive training in the industry. Working with our union contractors, we've developed a superintendent career training program that prepares talented individuals to oversee and manage productive work sites. As a union carpenter, you have challenging crafts to choose from and the training to go with it. You're in a tough, competitive industry, so it's up to your efforts on the job to determine your success and ours. The United Brotherhood of Carpenters.
So as you can see from that video, again, there are many different crafts within carpentry, and we have several training centers in our organization and our international training center in Las Vegas. As they said, they do a lot of train the trainers, they do leadership training. Again, if people want to choose a certain pathway, there's many different options. And what we build, as I said, we basically, as union carpenters, it's commercial carpentry. So we're working at airports and hospitals, schools, many of the larger projects you see in your communities, we are usually working on those types of projects. So what we have an apprenticeship program.
Melissa,
And- yes,
you see a gray bar on your screen,
I
Or is it-
don't.
or is it just me?
I can stop sharing. Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, just stop and start it. Maybe it's just my computer.
No problem. Let me go back. It might have been the video.
Weird, it's kind of there.
Okay. Do you see the apprenticeship program?
Yeah, but there's this weird gray bar at the top of the screen, but it's not that distracting.
Okay, I don't see it. I just see the options of
Okay.
or
I'll work
Zoom.
on it. I'll work on it here. Maybe it's me.
No, I see it too. So that's,
But I
Yes.
think I think it's not distracting enough to.
Okay, if you need me to, stop and restart it again, I can, the screen. So with our apprenticeship program, we have a 5-level apprenticeship program. So again, being with the Carpenters Union, this is our particular program. Now, all of the other trades with their apprenticeships, things vary, but a lot of times they're 4 to 5 year programs. So 5-level, 5 years. People can complete this in 4 years, but there's a certain amount of hours and it's work hours and class hours that they have to complete. So we call this earn as you learn. So you start off as a first level apprentice, and you're advancing over time to become, after the 5 years, a journey level carpenter. And you're going to be going to school 1 week, basically every quarter, at the training center that's located closest to you. So depending on where you reside, as I said, we have training centers throughout New York State. So depending on where you are located and which local you would be a part of, you would be going to the training center, as I said, 1 week every few months. And then it's 90% hands-on on the job training. Tuition-free education. So at the end of the 5 years, you're not going to have any loans or debt to pay back. So this is basically a free program. So if you saw one of our rate sheets, which I don't have here, but you'll see for each person that is a member, a certain amount comes out per hour, and it goes into our training fund. And this is how we actually fund the education and the training for our members. Health and retirement benefits. So this is one great part of being in the union, besides learning how to work safely on a construction site. The healthcare you receive, the retirement, we get a pension, we have an annuity. So really great benefits. And top class training and state-of-the-art facilities. I was saying earlier that we have, our training centers are either brand new or newly renovated. So our Syracuse Training Center was built a few years ago, and our other training centers on Long Island and in Rock Tavern in the Hudson Valley, Rochester, and Albany are newly renovated. A career advancement and college credit opportunities. I'll talk a little bit more about that in another slide, but there's a lot of room for advancement here. I was saying earlier, some people work out in the field their whole career, and there's a lot of people who advance to other positions. So there's a lot of room for advancement. There's a lot of classes, continuing classes that you can take even after you become a journey level carpenter. So we always have enhanced skill classes available at our training centers. And then build your community. I always like to mention this because our organization is very involved in our communities, not only in the projects that we build, but working with different organizations. So we do a lot with volunteer work with veterans. We've worked with Make-A-Wish Foundation, just several organizations, Wounded Warrior, in the different communities. So we're always, our members are always out there helping our community members as well. So some of the advantages, as I said, your wages. Now, wages depend on where you're located. So again, the rates in Albany are going to be different in Western New York, Long Island. So it just depends on where you're located. I can say right now, I'll just use Albany as an example. In your check with your benefits as a first level apprentice, you're making just over $32 an hour. And then after becoming a journey level carpenter after 5 years, right now it's in the mid 50s per hour with your benefits. Now, a first level apprentice actually makes 55% of what a journey level makes. And again, think that changes over time because it's through a collective bargaining agreement. So the rates actually were coming up in July on another rate change. So that's going to increase in all of the locals. But just to give you a sense, and it's just depends on where you're located. Benefits, again, healthcare, and we'll go over that. I actually have a slide on that, but the healthcare, the pension and annuity, and some of the other benefits that we offer as an organization. Learning skills, becoming a journey member carpenter. After the 5 years, you are going to have all of these great skills. And just so you have an idea, we have a great curriculum, and some of the classes that are offered as part of our curriculum. So for interior systems, we have beginner and advanced ceilings and soffits, shaft wall trim, doors and hardware, drywall production, stair layout and framing. For exterior, we have beginner and advanced concrete forms, gang forms, scaffold, heavy gauge metal framing, exterior finish systems, panelization and trusses and rigging. For safety, we offer fall protection and aerial lift, asbestos and lead awareness, infection control risk assessment, which is what we do in mostly medical facilities, first aid CPR, fire stop, and confined space. And then there's also electives that people can take, and the ones listed here are elevated slabs, layout, office furniture, roof framing, welding, and OSHA 30. And they would get their OSHA 10. That would be one of the first classes to be able to actually get onto a job site. So those are some of the classes throughout their apprenticeship program. And again, there's advanced classes once you complete as well. And then opportunity to advance into leadership roles. So again, people can become a council representative, a delegate in our organization, an instructor, a project manager. And with the continuing education, we actually do partner with some colleges. So we partner with Alfred State, and then in Massachusetts, we partner with Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology. And through that school, they actually provide online classes for our members. So with both programs, you can work towards a degree while going through our apprenticeship program. And then the scholarship, I do like to mention that because our members, there is a scholarship available for our members and their children as well. So our organization provides that benefit to our members. And again, the benefits that we have, a pension, which a lot of places don't offer at this point anymore. So that's a great benefit. Annuity, healthcare, vision. We have a Carpenter's Assistance Program, which is a program, if people are going through a hard time, we have different resources available for them. And then an HRA account. And really, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with how the union works, but we have our members in the union, and then they pay annual dues to be a union member, but they're employed actually by the contractor. So we work with what we call signatory contractors. There are union contractors, and we basically have that collective bargaining agreement with them. So again, all of those rates and pay and benefits, everything you would see as the breakdown on the rate sheet, that's all negotiated in contracts. So those are set for a certain period of time until they do their renegotiations. But all of that is paid by the contractor. So what we do is when we bring people in, we will help them find work with our contractors. So that's kind of how that works. Our requirements. So we have basic requirements to get into our organization: high school diploma or GED equivalent. Reliable transportation is very important. So each of our locals covers several counties. So, you're going to be probably working at different job sites over your career. So that's really important. And then if you're working with students, encouraging them if they can get their license, and, it's going to be probably for most careers, but especially for our industry, because they're going to have to be mobile and have to be able to get to our training facilities for their school and to the job site. Physically able to do the work. We'll teach people how to work safely, how to carry materials properly. You do have to be able to, as you can imagine, being in construction, you have to be able to lift and carry. And there probably is going to be a lot of that type of work. But we do, work with people. Another thing is not everybody likes heights and things like that. So there's different pathways you can choose. You don't necessarily have to do that type of work, but we do work, and we try to, work with people and train them to be able to do this kind of work, and then pass a drug test. So that's just one of the other basic requirements for the program. So if people are interested in applying, so it used to be that people could just come into our training centers and fill out an application, and there was a test, like a math test, I believe, involved. And then they would get called in for an interview. But what we decided to do is actually do a monthly information session, which is basically like what I'm doing now, about an hour, offering all of the information about our program. And from there, if people decide to take the next step forward, they get a code to apply online. So they would apply online, and then they'll get notified probably within like 2 to 3 weeks to come in for an interview. So basically, we are a New York State registered Department of Labor apprenticeship program. So with that, the people who do the interviews, I'm not actually not a part of that process, but we have our representatives and usually a contractor will be a part of that. And there's a point system. So you get points for things like work experience, education. So let's say you did a BOCES program, or you had some part-time work experience. Maybe you did the OSHA 10 class online, CPR class, there's things like that you can get points. The Carpenters actually created a curriculum, a textbook curriculum called Career Connections. So we are working with some schools and organizations to utilize that program, which is available in tech as the textbook or online through our LMS program. And what that program does is give kids about, I think it's up to 8 points to get into the program. So because we realize also that coming right out of school, they don't necessarily have the experience that other people have if they've graduated and have been out working for a few years. So that's another program that we have. And then drug testing, that's part of that. And then they would start the apprenticeship program. And they would it's a ranking list. So basically they get put on a ranking list, and it does depend on the work that's available, the economy, everything that's happening, how often or when people get called in to start working. So another reality of the industry, there are layoffs at times, but I will say that with our industry, we have a lot of work. We've had a lot of work even throughout the pandemic. We stayed working. We were considered essential workers. So we had a lot of work, and we have many projects coming up in all of our areas. We are going to have a lot of work, and we definitely need people. So right now I would say layoffs probably, unless, people aren't doing well on the job. If people are good workers and hard workers, most likely they'll stay working. I just also like to mention the working conditions because of where we live too. We have all the weather elements. So people are, remember that they'll be working in the hot, cold, rain, snow, at heights, as I mentioned earlier. In crawl spaces, we do the confined space training as well. And then of course, carrying the material. Something I talk to a lot of the students about when we're in the classroom are the soft skills. So we can train in carpentry, we can give you all of those skills, but these are so important, as everybody knows, and really in any career you're in. But communication, being on time in the construction industry, our hours are early. So, you're starting at 7 o'clock, you should be there with your tools on by at least 6:45. Teamwork, you're working with other people, but also in this industry, it could be dangerous if you're not working properly with your team. So we really try to mention all of these things. Good attitude. If you have a good attitude and you come to work and you're willing to work and able, hopefully, like I said, you'll stay working. And a contractor is going to notice that. And I think one of the things we know that we kind of know internally in this industry too is people build a reputation, quickly. And if you're a good worker and you're working for a contractor, they're going to want to keep you on the project. And so anything, insofar as having a good work ethic and all the skills you can learn, I think that's another great advantage. And with our organization is we always have new things to learn. So if you take advantage of all of those things, you're going to become more valuable to a contractor. And then able to take direction, work with minimal supervision. So a lot of times you're on the job site, you may have to be working on specific projects. So it's important to do that as well. Another great program that I work on is called the Sisters in the Brotherhood. So our sisters program, and our sisters are our female carpenters. We have committees throughout the country, throughout our organization, a committee in New York State with our female carpenters. Traditionally, people don't think of, females may not think of carpentry or construction as a career option. So one of the things we started about 7 years ago was a pilot program in New York State a pre-apprenticeship program, which actually I worked with a colleague in New Jersey, and she had been running it. She was a carpenter, became an instructor, and started this program really to bring more women into the industry. We piloted it in 2015 in the Westchester area. At that time, had about 7 or 8 women come through. And since then, we have been running it throughout the state. And now we've had over 100 women come through the program. We're still definitely trying to build the awareness for this program. And, you know, it's great because we changed the logistics of it. So it used to be an 8-week program, 40 hours per week. Then is 6 weeks, then a 4-week program. And now we've actually changed it to 2 nights per week and a Saturday. So it's 2 nights, 4 hours per night, and then Saturday, 8 hours. It's a total of 128 hours. We run it in May and June at our training facilities. And we start recruitment for this in about February. My colleague, Nicole Grodner, who is the chair of our sisters in New York State, we run information sessions online. And then we basically have a whole presentation dedicated to the sisters program and how it works. It's not a paid program, so we know that it's a commitment for people. But it is a really good option, I would say, for maybe women who have no experience in the industry but have an interest. And then there's a lot of women who have come to us because they want a totally different career, so career change. And then I also think anybody who's graduating out of high school, as long as they're 18 by the time the program completes, which is at the end of June, we can have them in the program. So the nights and the weekends, we're hoping will be a little more conducive to people's schedules, and especially, you know, if they're working or going to school. So again, we started this, and this, one of the greatest benefits of this is that after the 8 weeks, they are directly entered, as long as they do well, directly entered into our apprenticeship program. So they bypass the process, the traditional process of the ranking list. And if they have no experience, this is a great way for them to come in. Now, any man or woman could apply the traditional route, but we saw that, again, this was a great opportunity to offer this program to people who, again, may or may not have the experience, or people just coming out of school as well. So I do want to show another short video. So this is Wendy, and last year we did our program in the Hudson Valley Rock Tavern area, and Wendy is one of our graduates from our sisters program, and this is a short video on her story.
My name is Wendy. I'm an apprentice, and this is why. When I purchased my home not that long ago, and in the pandemic, you know, you're home, I'm fixing things, and I just really learned to love it. When I saw that the New York State apprenticeship program existed, I was just really excited that there were opportunities for women to get into such a male-dominated industry. Never felt like it was an option, that it's something that I would do and make money from and take care of my family and my kids. Just with the whole pandemic, myself, like a lot of people, really reassessed what we were doing in life and where we wanted to be. And I said, I'm gonna just have to go for it, because I'm not gonna live my life in regret doing something that people think I should do versus what I really want to do. I definitely see myself long-term here. I love this. I don't want to do anything else in life. I went into carpentry, pursuing a passion, and came out with a career.
So that's Wendy's story. And as I said, we've had actually many women who have come through the program, and she's doing very well. Now she is first-year apprentice in our program in Hudson Valley. So, and another thing we like to note is that this is same work, same pay for men and women. So, you know, great benefit of being a part of our industry and in our organization. And another program, we actually work with helmets to hard hats. So that is a program for transitioning military members. If they register with helmets to hard hats and they come into our program, it's basically considered a direct entry into our program as well. So one of the benefits there is that they can use their GI Bill, and as a first level, they can actually get, I believe it's journey level pay when they come in. So another great program, and helmets actually works with all of the construction trades. So another great partnership that we have in our organization. And here we have, I just wanted to list, and again, you'll have this in the recording, but some of our websites. Our training website has a lot of wonderful information about the training, about classes, about the apprenticeship program. And our council website really is another great resource. And we have different members' stories, just a lot of different information about our council. And I have my contact information here. I can also put it in the chat box. I have one more short video to show, and then I'm happy to take any questions.
A career in carpentry is for anybody. You just gotta want it. You gotta have a positive attitude and good work ethic. And we'll provide you with the tools to be successful. We'll train you. You just need to show up and have those two qualities.
You are not in our organization as an individual alone. You are part of a united brotherhood of carpenters.
If you're thinking about joining the union, if you're thinking about building a career as a carpenter, if you have an interest in creating things, if you have an interest in not sitting at a desk all day, this might be the career for you.
I'm a person that loves to learn, so being able to get out there and learn different things every single day is like amazing to me.
Serving in the Marine Corps, that got me used to up early in the morning, PT every day, hard work, long hours, getting dirty. The camaraderie that I have with my fellow union members is very similar to the same bond that I had with my fellow Marines in my platoon, in my company.
You don't have to know anything, they teach you everything you need to know. And over the past 4 years, I actually have learned a lot and ready to journey out.
Any apprentice that goes through our program can be assured that the knowledge that they're gaining in any of our facilities will relate directly to what they're going to need on the job to be a great carpenter, a great foreman, a great job super. We're going to give them everything they need to grow their career within our organization.
To be an excellent carpenter, it's essential to be able to be a team player and work well with others. It's a very physical job, so you have to be prepared to work hard and to be productive. Right now, we're probably about 90% time spent in the shop and 10% time spent in the classroom. For our career as carpenters, we spend our lives on our feet with tools in our hands, so I think our training reflects that well.
We cover all of New England and all of New York State. And we have to make sure that our facilities are located so that apprentices and journey level carpenters have access to the same state-of-the-art training no matter where they live. And we do it for free so that when we bring in the best and the brightest, they don't have to worry about paying tuition. We take care of that for them. All they need to do is bring the passion, the vision, the goal of lifelong learning. Then you have all the tools that you'll need to succeed in our organization as an apprentice and then ultimately as a highly skilled union carpenter.
I would describe the instructors as very attentive, very friendly, open, and helpful. I feel like I gained like a whole bunch of uncles and aunts that want to help me, want to see me prosper.
It's interesting to be in this position as an instructor because I see first-year apprentices come in and they're very eager, but they maybe aren't so sure of themselves. And then by the time they're a fourth year, they adapt. They're able to take the same skills that they've learned throughout the program, and without any struggle, they're able to transfer it over to do anything.
That is why I took this job as an instructor, to pass on what others have taught me, so I can pass it on to the apprentices that are behind me. And one day they'll pass it on to keep this brother and sisterhood going.
We definitely, put our hearts on the line out here. What we do matters. We're empowering the middle class, and we care about the people that come through here. It's not just about work. It's really about the love for the trade.
So there you got to see, at the end, that was actually our Albany Training Center, but most of them look similar. And as I said, most of them are newly renovated or brand new. Got to hear some different perspectives from our instructors and apprentices. So, a lot of great stories and experiences. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm happy to take any questions in the chat box or if anybody wants to unmute themselves. And thank you again.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, you can just unmute and ask questions. I saw a couple in the chat that were interesting.
Okay.
Everybody's shy.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I had a quick question about where you're located downstate.
Sure. So we have two training centers, Long Island, which is Hauppauge, and Long Island, we cover Nassau and Suffolk counties. And then in the Hudson Valley, so our Hudson Valley Local 279 covers just south of Albany down to Yonkers. Our training center is in Rock Tavern, so it's in the Newburgh area. But again, when people do have to travel, it's 1 week every few months for the training. And when they do start as apprentices, you could probably plan on working. You could work in several different counties, but, if you're down in the Westchester, Yonkers area, I believe you can put in a preference of, the places you'd like to work. But the more, flexible you are, again, the more projects you'll probably have the opportunity to work on. But that's where those two locations are. Albany, we are in the Colony Guilderland area. That's where our training center is. We're in Syracuse. We do actually have a training center. I know somebody sent me an email about the Broome Tioga area. So we do have a training center in Horseheads, which is probably a little bit closer. And then we have Rochester is one of our larger training centers. And we have a small training center in Elma in Buffalo area, where actually right now we're doing our sister's pre-apprenticeship program there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Someone had a question in the chat. I had the same question. How about 5 boroughs? How does that work? Is there
So
a
that's
different union?
Same organization, different council. So it's the New York City District Council. So if somebody was located in the 5 boroughs, they could reach out to the New York City District Council for their application. And, depending on the council, it could be a different application process. So like I said, we do a once per month information session online, it was online during the pandemic. It's now back in person, but so they might have a different process as to their application process, but they can contact the New York City District Council.
Cool.
Another thing to note, I would just say, is if somebody did their apprenticeship in New York State and eventually ended up moving to California or another state, you can transfer to another council as a member. So just to note that, or Canada, we're there as well.
So I saw a question from Michael from Ossining, and they're interested in the sisterhood. So Michael,
Okay.
you can speak up, or you can email Melissa.
I'm in a very noisy place, so it's hard
Yeah,
to
that's okay. And
hear me.
feel free to follow up with me if you'd like. The Sisters program, I will say, we usually start recruitment for that in February. This year we did our information sessions, so we do those via Zoom. We held those in March and April. We held 4 of those. And then we have people go through, so it's an information session, application, and we actually do a tryout. Really, not only to have them physically carry the material, but also, again, to gauge their attitude, how they work with other people. So we do a half-day tryout, and then, then the next step would be their interview. Interview, then tryout, and then drug testing, and then, the apprenticeship program. And I can always send, as I said, if anybody wants to email me, I can send you flyers, video links. I have a lot of different resources that you can share with your facilities, or anybody that might be interested in the apprenticeship program or the Sisters program. So the Sisters, we won't be running again until next year, but anybody at any time can choose to apply the traditional way as well. I did see a question about how competitive the process is. You know, I think I will say that, again, I know that we have a lot of work coming. Insofar as the process, I think that there's different, throughout the locals, there's different times that they do interviews. And I think depending on the work that's available is how many people, you know, they'll bring in and new apprentices they'll bring in. But I will say that right now, again, we are going to have a lot of work coming up, whether it's in the Albany area. I know Central and Western New York, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So if you meet the requirements, and one of the things I would say again is any way that you can somewhat prepare and get some experience, I would encourage you to, you know, take an OSHA class online. If you have a part-time job doing something in the construction related industry, you know, anything where you have some experience, or education, you know, it's going to be to your benefit. So anything you can do in advance to prepare is helpful.
I thought of a question. If you go through the 5-year process, the 5-year program, and graduate, is there a commitment to the union then?
Yeah, so basically you are going through our apprenticeship program and you're going to be a union carpenter. So when you come in as a first-year apprentice, you're committing to that program. Now, there are times when people decide that it's not for them. I think one of the best things about this process that they changed of doing the hour information session once per month, and people don't have to pre-register for those. I will tell you that I do have a flyer with information how to get to that, and it's also on our training website. But I think one of the things is we wanted people to come in and explain everything to them so that, of course, they know what they're getting into because it is a 5-year commitment. So you're going to take those steps as opposed to before where you can come in, fill out an application and maybe not know as much about the program. So I think that's one great thing and one step that they took that is helpful because, you know, people come into the sessions after an hour and say, maybe this isn't for me. Even with the sisters process, you know, we do that half-day tryout and there's some people that say, you know, this isn't what I thought it was. And that's okay. You know, we say it's not for everybody, but, you know, these are opportunities for people to see if it's something that's really for them. But it is a commitment, you know, you're committing to the apprenticeship program and basically to the union. And, you know, and we're committing to the people to help, of course, try to find work as well and provide a career opportunity as opposed to a job. You know, I see a lot of people in our organization, as we were talking about earlier, retiring. Some people came in when they were a little bit younger and some people, you know, a little bit older, but they're retiring with a pension, with, you know, just all of these great benefits. And I think that's a really important part of why we're, you know, trying to reach kids in high school. This is an option. This is you know, a viable option for you. And we're here to provide that opportunity. And we have these minimal requirements. And, you know, there's just going to be, there's so much opportunity throughout the trades as a whole.
There's a couple questions in the chat.
Yep. I would say, yes, definitely taking a BOCES or being part of BOCES is definitely a benefit. So, you know, things like that help give you points into our program. Let me just see. I clicked on the chat now, so I will scroll through. Let's see here.
Just the one above it. How does the apprentice route compare to a technical college in construction management?
You know, that's a great question. I'm not really too familiar. I can't really speak on that as much, you know, in comparison. But as I said, I know that like one of the things I mean, there's people who have gone to college and then come to us, which again, they can get points into our program. But one of the things and benefits is, and I have it here. So with Alfred State, we have an articulation agreement. So there's provides our members an opportunity to complete an associate degree in construction supervision or technology management. So that's one opportunity. And then also with Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology, there's also that opportunity to get an associate's degree. It's science and construction management. and it's at a reduced tuition cost as well. So, I mean, if it depends on, you know, what you're really looking to do, you know, with our program, I think it's great to just come in, but it depends on which pathway you want to take. And I think what your interests are. So, but with our program, as I said, you can go, you can get that, that experience, and you're not going to have, you know, the debt included at the end. So that's a plus. Let's see.
Any more questions?
I see a few. Let's see. Oh, Michael, okay, so your questions. So yes, we can talk about the sisters after the, you know, feel free to reach out. Yeah, I will put my information. Oh, there it is. Thank you. There's my email, mclark@nasclmp.org. So anybody can feel free, you know, to reach out to me. 5 boroughs, we answered that question. And yes, and then the BOCES, I would say definitely encourage, you know, if kids are interested in the trades and there's a BOCES program available, or, you know, any kind of construction related class would be great experience. The other thing that we do is we do a lot of classroom presentations. We're happy to do school visits, career days. We also have at our training centers, we have the opportunity to do field trips. So if people want to bring students to our facilities, we can set that up. We actually just had an open house in Albany a couple weeks ago. So we can plan those, and we also do what we do in right now. We're going to be doing in Rochester as a workshop class or day, I guess they're doing out there. So there's a lot of different opportunities for the kids to get to see our facility and just, you know, learn about the program and see if it's something that they really might want to do.
Cool.
You just spoke on behalf of the Rochester
Hi, Eric.
Day.
Yes,
Hi.
I think we met before.
When is this going to be? Do you have
So
a time?
I believe it is the 31st. I think they're doing it the week of the 30th. So obviously not the holiday. I think it's the 31st through the 3rd. If you email me, I can connect you with our training coordinator in Rochester, and, you know, just let him know if you're interested. So I know they have quite a few people attending. There's, you know, definitely still an opportunity.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay, so as has been our tradition, we always send out the PowerPoint and the recording and the chats the day after our events, our webinars. And we also send out a certificate of attendance if you need that. So I'll do that tomorrow. Thank you, Melissa, for your presentation. Our registration's open for our annual conference at the Albany Hilton. We got a cool logo. We're ready to go. If you're interested in presenting at our conference, you could put a presentation in and some information here. So thanks for attending, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.